Hi guys, Miss Berg again. I just wanted to tell you that we're going to be doing 5-7 today. This is going to be showing you a lot of remainders in division of decimals, which you are not allowed to have a remainder of decimals when it comes to decimals. So I will show you what to do in those different type of questions, what you should do to stop that from happening. So I am going to go ahead and switch it on over. Okay, so this one says the equivalent fractions show that writing zeros to the right of a decimal does not change the value. So here is what it's showing. This is 90 and 8/10. So it's just saying that it'd be 90 and 8/10. But if you do, you could times both the top and the bottom by 10. And it's still saying 90 and 80/100ths, which is just adding a zero at the end. It is still the same thing. We can act like that zero is not there, which was the original number. We can keep adding on zeros after that, and it is not changing up our value at all. So during the fundraiser event, Adrian rode a bicycle 45 and 8/10 miles in 4 hours. Find his speed in miles per hour by dividing the distance by the time. Now, guys, whenever you see miles per hour, that per means divide by the hour. So in this case, you're going to be taking your miles. So here's our miles, and then we're going to be dividing it by the hours, which is 4. So that is why this one is listed first. That is your miles. This is to divide by 4. So that is what is going on there. So now what we are going to be doing is we are just going to go right into the division part of this. So again, you could use dead, monkeys smell, crazy, bad. Again, this is your division, this is your multiplication, your subtraction, checking, bring down, and then you can start all over again from the top. So the first thing that you need to do is put the first number, which is your dividend, into the box, which I did. And then your second number is your divisor, so you would put that second. So now we can go ahead and divide this out. So in order to do this, you would have to first look and make sure that our divisor is a whole number, which it is. So since it is, now what you would do is you would just move that decimal straight up into the problem, and now you can divide like normal. So when you divide like normal, we will continue to going. This is what you do. How many 4s can go into 4? So 4s going into 4, it is 1 time. Then 1 times 4 is 4. Now we subtract. 4 minus 4 is 0. Check it. We are okay. Then bring down your next number, which is a 5. Now that you brought down a number, you got to start back up at the top. Now, how many 4s can get as close to 5 without going over 5? So going by 4s to 5 without going over. Now this is going over 5, so therefore it only goes in 1 time. 1 times 4 is 4. Then you would subtract, that would be a 1. Check it, we are okay. So then you're going to bring down your next number, which is an 8. Now you have to start again. How many 4s go into 18? As close to 18 as possible without going over. As close as you can get is 4 times. So this would be a 4 up here. 4 times 4 is 16. Then you would subtract, that would be a 2. All right, now, just to review over here, this one would have been 11 and 4/10. However, it is still showing us a remainder, and we are never allowed to have a remainder when it comes to decimals. Now, eventually you will see like probably a repeating thing going on. So eventually you'll see like a 0.44444 repeating, but in this case, we don't know But if there is a remainder, what you should be doing is you should add on a 0 and then bring that 0 on down and see if that finishes out the problem. So how many 4s go into 20? How many 4s go into 20 as close to 20 as possible without going over? It goes in evenly 5 times. So that would be a 5. 5 times 4 is 20. And then when you subtract that, now stops the remainder. So therefore your answer is 11/4500ths. So what this one is just telling you is that if there is a remainder still, keep on adding zeros and hopefully it should end. Now it will end this year, but next year in 6th grade, I'll let the 6th grade teachers tell you what to do with that. But for right now, it will end in 5th grade here. So just keep on adding zeros. I would say if you are adding like 3 zeros and it's still not stopping, that you did something wrong. So if you're going and you're keeping on adding on zeros and you're into the 3rd 0, there is probably something wrong with your division. So if that's the case, stop, because you could keep on going forever and not come to an end result. So I will tell you that. All right, now the next page, it says when dividing whole numbers, you can show that the amount that is left over by writing a remainder or a fraction. By writing zeros in the dividend, you can show that amount as a decimal. So what we are doing is that when it comes to a decimal mode, that is actually a fraction. Truly, what this is truly saying is 11, and it is 45 in the hundredths. That's truly what it's saying. So that's all they're saying, that this is really the decimal mode of the actual fraction of the answer. All right, so writing zeros in the dividend. So first it says divide until you have an amount less than the divisor left. Insert a decimal point and a 0 at the end of that dividend. Place a decimal point in the quotient above the decimal point in the dividend. Continue dividing. Okay, so here we go. In this case, hold on one second. I'm just going to pause you guys real quick. Okay, so in this case, you would see if that is a whole number. 15 is a whole number, so they already kind of did it for you. They brought up the decimal already. They already divided it out for you. They said that 15 can go into 37 twice. And then it would be 2 times 15 is 30. That would be 7. Check it. We are okay. Bring down your 2. So then it already told you that 15 goes in there 4 times. That would be 60. So now we are stopping right here. We have to subtract that. And that would be 2 minus 0 is 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. Check it. It is still smaller than our divisor. However, there is still a remainder. So we're going to go into decimal mode. So that is why we brought up that decimal. We can bring down a 0 to see if it ends here. So how many 15s will go into 120? Again, this is showing you how much 4 is. So it is up to you on what you want to try. I'm going to try, let's just guess here. I'm going to try a 6, see what that does. So 5 times 6 is 30, carry your 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And we're still pretty far away. So now I'm going to bring that up. Maybe let's try to 8. So that would be 40, carry your 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So therefore it goes in 8 times. 8 times 15 is 120. When you subtract that, be 0 remaining. So therefore your answer is 24 and 8/10. All right, so now we're going to continue going on. We'll go down here. Now, what they are doing here is they are simply, see, I don't like how they already showed you that they moved it. What they did here is they put this one here as it should have been, and then they're going to put the 600ths in as the divisor. Now, again, you need to make sure that this is a whole number. It is not a whole number. This is a decimal. So how many places do we need to move that to make that number at the end saying it's a 6 now? Well, that would be twice. So that is what it's showing up here. They're moving it twice. So then if you move this one twice in, you need to move this one in twice as well. So when you do, your answer is going to come out to be your actual division problem is going to come out to be 123 divided by 6. So what they already did for you is they started dividing. So they said 6 goes into 12 2 times. That would be 12. That would be 0. Then bring down your 3. See, I don't like how they're not showing bringing down the numbers so you don't get confused. Then it says how many 6s can go into 3? That should be 0. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract, that would be a 3. Then check, we are okay. Bring down your, now you have, again, you have a remainder. So what they're saying, if you want to go into decimal mode, to bring up the decimal and then just bring on a 0, and then you'll eventually get to that. So how many 6s can go into 30? That would be 5. 5 times 6 is 30 with nothing remaining. Your answer is 20 and 5/10. Next, right here, again, this is going to be 10, and this one is going to be 8/10. Again, you have to make it so that it is a whole number. So we're going to make it 8. So we moved it once over here. However, where is the decimal on 10 if it's not given to you? Remember, it is at the end. So now I have to move that out once. So now it is over here, which now means this would be 100. So now if you rewrite it, it is truly saying 8 is our divisor and 100 is now our dividend. So now we can go ahead and divide. How many 8s can go into 1? It cannot happen. Oh, before I do that, make sure you bring up your decimal straight up into the problem. Can 8 go into 10? Yes, it can go in once. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. Then you can check it. We are smaller. Then I can bring down my next number, which is a 0. All right, now how many 8s can go into as close to 20 as possible without going over 20? This is as close as I'm going to get. That is 16, but that is 2 times. So then 2 times 8 is 16. Then do 20 minus 16. That would be 4. Check it. We are okay. So then what you could do now is you could add on a 0 because now you need to see the decimal mode of it. Now you could have made this to use the J method to actually write out the actual remainder as a fraction. It would have been 4/8. However, there's also a decimal mode, which sometimes your state test questions will ask you to write out the decimal mode. So that is why we're doing this. You can go ahead and bring on a 0 down so that it will end this remainder. So how many 8s can go into 40? 40, it is 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40 with nothing remaining. Your answer is 12 and 5/10. All right, now it says write the quotient with the decimal point placed correctly. All right, so then this one, what this one is showing is this one needs to go in here. That is your dividend. This is your divisor. Okay, Now, they are giving us our answer already, but we just need to place in the decimal correctly. So what you need to do here is first make sure that this is a whole number. It is not, so we need to move it in one time so that now it will be 8. And now if I do that here, I must move this one time as well. So where's the decimal to begin with? It is at the end, and I'm going to move it one time. So now it would be 50. And then the decimal will be after. So then you go, can 8 go into 5? No, it cannot. Can 8 go into 50? Yes. And then that is where it is a 6 here. Well, then right after that number would be your decimal. So therefore the decimal would be between the 6 and the 5. All right, here, same thing. The divisor is 6. This is 26 and 41/100ths. Sorry, 26 and 1/10. So in this case, since this is already a whole number, all you have to do is go straight up into the problem. All right, now we can start looking to see where 4 begins. So can 6 go into 2? Nope, it is too small. Can it go into 26? Yes, that is where your 4 is. Well, since the 4 is right above the 6, then there's a decimal. That means that it needs to be right in between the 4 and the 3. All right, next one. You're going to put this as your dividend and this as your divisor. All right, so how many places do I need to move it to make it a whole number? That would be 2 places to move it to the end. So if I move this one 2 places, I must do the same over here. So then when I rewrite it, it would be 35, and this one would be 42. My decimal will be at the end. Okay, now, then you would bring up your decimal. And then can 35 go into 4? No, it cannot. Can it go into 42? Yes, one time. So therefore the 1 will be right here. Then that means the decimal, and then the next number would be a 2. So therefore that decimal would be in between 1 and the 2. All right, next. Here, same stuff. Here is your 50 is your divisor, 80 is your dividend. So always your first number goes in the box, second number is always your divisor. So in this case, is this a whole number? Yes, it is. So therefore, where does your decimal begin? It does begin at the end. So then I'm going to bring it straight up. And then now we're going to continue. Can 50 go into 8? Nope, it is too small. Can 50 go into 80? Yes, one time. So 1 times 50 is 50. And we can stop right there because it means it is going, the 1 will be right here, the decimal, and then the next number would be your 6. So they would have to be in between those two. All right, so now we're going to do a few more here, and then I'm going to have you do one on your own. So on this one, you first see if this is a whole number, and it is. So therefore, we can go ahead and move it straight up into the problem and continue. So can 4 go into 3? No, you cannot. Can 4 go into 32? And we can, so we're going to see how close to 32 is possible. It can go in exactly 8 times. So the 8 is here. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract it, that'd be 0. Check it, we are okay. Bring down your 6. Now, how many 4s go into 6? And that would be 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract it, that would be a 2. All right, now we are going into decimal mode, and there is a remainder, which we're not allowed to have remainders. So what you should do is you should add on a 0 to see if it will eventually end here. So I'm going to add on a 0 and continue going. How many 4s go into 20? Well, how many 4s can get as close to 20 as possible? We can get in evenly 5 times. So this is 5. 5 times 4 is 20 with 0 remaining. So now it has our 0 remainder, which is what we want. So our answer is 8 15/100. Next, again, the same thing. We need to make sure our divisor is a whole number. It is not. So how many places do I need to move it so that the decimal is at the end of that number? You need to move it in once. So since you move this in once, you must do the same to my dividend. Where's the decimal to begin with here? If it's not given to you, remember it is always at the end, but remember we need to move it once as well. So the decimal will now be here. This will be a 0. This is only one time as well. So now 1012 goes into 90. So now that I just rewrote it, now it's saying how many 12s will go into 90. So now we will do the multiplication. And guess what? What works for us is that we have 12s on our multiplication chart, so that's easy for us. So can 12 go into 9? Going by 12s, will you ever get to 9? No, you will not. It's too small. So we're going to cross that out. How about into 90? As close to 90 as you can without going over. That would be 84, which is 7 times. 7 times 12, we already said it, it was 84. Can I have 0 and take away 4? No, I cannot. So I need to come over and borrow. And now this is 10 minus 4. 10 minus 4 is 6. Check it. We are okay. Do we have any more numbers to bring down? No, we do not. But we still have a remainder. So in order to end that remainder, remember you could add on a 0 after that number. So I'm going to add on a 0 and hope that it ends. So how many 12s can go into as close to 60 as possible? Oh, it does go in exactly 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60 with nothing remaining. So therefore it is 7 5/10. All right, next. 15 into 42. Okay, so here's the next one. Is 15 a whole number? It is. So therefore, we have to just bring the decimal up. Well, where is the decimal on 42 if it's not given to us? Remember, if it's not given to you, it's always at the end of that number. So now that we know where it is, we're going to just bring it straight up, and now we can go ahead and divide. Can 15 go into 4? Nope, it is too small. Can it go in at least 42? Yes. So now we can go ahead and try, let's try 15 times 3. That would be 15, carry your 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. That is a little too high. So now let's just bring it down to 2. That would be 10, carry your 1. This would be 2 plus 1 is 3. So as close as I can get is twice. That would be 30. And then here you'd go 2, then 1, check it, we are okay. So now I'm going to bring, I have a remainder still, and there's nothing to bring down. So remember, we're going into decimal mode. So in order to stop that decimal mode, I'm going to add on a 0, and let's hope that it ends. So how many 15s will go into 120? Now this is where you can go ahead and do some guessing and checking. I am going to try, let's try 6. 5 times 6 is 30, carry your 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 90. So we're still pretty far away. So I'm going to try and go up to like an 8. This would be 40, carry your 4. That would be 8 plus 4 is 12. So therefore, That is exactly what we wanted. So it goes in 8 times. 8 times 15 was 120 with nothing remaining. Your answer is 2 and 8/10. Okay, next. I want you guys to do number 8 on your own. So you can go ahead and pause this and try that on your own. All right, so you should have paused it. And if you did, this is what your answer would have been. You should have moved in this twice to make it a whole number, and you should have done the same over here. So really it would have been 91 divided by 14. So you would bring up the decimal, and then you would have gotten 6 5/10. All right, so now we're going to go on to the next thing here. It says Lena has a ribbon that is 2 2/10 meters long, and she cuts that ribbon into 4 equal pieces to trim the edges on her bulletin board. What is the length of each piece? That just means one piece of ribbon. So this is how much it is for 4. This is how much she has. She wants to cut it 4 ways. So she wants to just figure out what 1 is. So in order to do this, that means you would have to take 2 2/10 and divide it 4 ways. So what I'm going to do is come on over here. The number is 2 2/10. Now this is why I want you guys to get that out of your head. That is always the bigger number that goes in the box, because in this case, it does not work that way. 2 2/10 is much smaller than 4. So that's why you got to be very careful on how you set up your division problem. All right, so since 4 is a whole number, what happens to that decimal? It goes straight up. There is nothing to move. All right, now we can go ahead and divide. Can 4 go into 2? No, it cannot. And since it's right before that decimal, we're going to put a 0. Can it go into 22? Yes, it can. So how many 4s can get as close to 22 as possible without going over? As close as you're going to get without going over is 20, which is 5 times. So 5 times, because 5 times 4 is 20. Now we subtract, that would be a 2. Check it, we are okay. So then we still have a remainder, which we're not allowed to have. So when it comes into play, what should you do? You should be adding a 0 and bringing it down to see if that ends that. So I'm going to just slide this on over one more. Now, how many 4s will go into 20? So as close to 20 as possible would be 5. 5 times 4 is 20 with nothing remaining. So your answer is 55 hundredths. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Okay, so it says that this Hyros family lives 448 kilometers from the beach. Each of the 5 adults drove the family van an equal distance to get to and from the beach. How far did each adult drive? So in order to do this, you would have to first see how much each one would drive. But this is the thing. It said Hyros family lives 448 from the kilometers from the beach. Each of the adults drove the van an equal distance to get to and from the beach. So here's the thing. I think this sounds like this is where it gets a little confusing. This is just from the family's house to the beach. That was to get there is 448 kilometers. But to get back, you have to go again another 448 kilometers. So if you wanted to do that, you would do 448 times 2. This is 16, carry your 1. This is 8 plus 1 is 9, and this is 8. So therefore, there will be 896 total kilometers to go. So now you're going to take this, and then you would have to divide this amongst 5 adults. So 896 divided by 5. So is this a whole number? Yes, it is. So then you find that decimal, which is at the end, and you bring it straight up. Now, how many fives go into 8? It is just 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract it. That would be 3. Check it. You are okay. Bring down your next number, which is a 9. Now, how many fives go into 39? Going by fives to 39, as close as you get to 39 as possible. That would be 35, which is 7 times. So this would be 7. 7 times 5 is 35. Subtract, that would be a 4. Check it. We are okay. Bring down your 6. Okay, how many fives go into 45? 46, as close to 46 as possible. Well, that is 45, which is 9 times. So 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract, that would be a 1. Check it. We are okay. So then what I'm going to do, since we still have a remainder and nothing to bring down, I'm just going to add on a 0 after that decimal. Then how many fives can go into 10? That is 2. Now just be very careful that if you are saying it's 2, make sure you're putting it after the decimal, because that's where the other number that we just brought down is. It is after the decimal, not before. So 2 times 5 is 10, and then it finally ends. So your answer is 179 and 2/10 kilometers. Okay, and that is the answer. That each adult would go 179 and 2/10 kilometers. All right, next. Here, I just want to do a couple more. This one says, Amy has 3 pounds of raisins. She wants to divide the raisins equally into 12 bags. How many pounds of raisins are in each bag? Tell how many zeros you had to write at the end of that dividend to solve. All right, so in order to do this, it says how many pounds of raisins? There are 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 3, and then it says you're going to divide that equally amongst 12 bags. So this is what it's going to look like. So again, when it comes to doing the division, the first number is always your dividend. Your second number is your divisor. So then this is a whole number, so the decimal is right after. Make sure you bring it up. Can 12 go into 3? No, it cannot, but we can add on a 0. So then how many 12s will go into 30? So as close to 30 as possible would be twice, because that would be 24. Can you have 0 and take away 4? No, you cannot. But you can have 10 and take away 4, that would be 6. Again, we still have a remainder. So when we have a remainder, even though it is smaller than our divisor, there is no more numbers to bring down. But remember, you can keep on adding zeros until it hopefully ends. So how many 12s will go into 60? So if you look at your chart, as close to 60 as possible, it is 5 times. So I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to put it above that. This would go in 5. 5 times 12 is 60 with nothing remaining. So your answer is 25 hundredths of a pound. And then tell how many zeros you had to write at the end of the dividend to solve. Well, how many zeros did we have to write at the end? There was actually 2 zeros. So then the next part would be 2 zeros. All right, so real quick, I'm just gonna quickly just talk about this one. We're not gonna do it, but it says the formula for velocity or rate of speed is to find the rate or the speed. You would take the distance divided by the time. So it is saying where the the R represents the rate of speed, D is the distance, and T is the time. For example, if an object goes 12 feet in 10 seconds, you would have to do the rate of speed by using the following format. So the distance is 12, the time is 10 seconds. So then you would divide this way, and it would be 1 and 2 tenths feet per second. But here it says a car travels 168 miles and 3 2/10 hours. Find the speed in miles per hour. Remember, that is that miles per means divide by the hour. So in this case, the distance is 168 divided by how many, what the time was, it was 3 2/10. So when you were doing it, it would have looked like this. You would have to move it in one place to make that divisor a whole number, and you must do it to the other side. So when you rewrite it, it would have been 1,680 divided by 32. And if you would have done the math, which I don't want you to, I'm just talking about it, it would have came out to be 52 5/10 miles per hour. All right, so now we're gonna get to your homework. The homework is on page 333. This is again 5-7. I do want you to write a little bit of notes up here. I will say check divisor to see if it's a whole number. And then of course, what would come next would be, show your work. Okay, so I am just going to be doing a few with you, and then you are going to have some on your own. So this one I want to do with you. All right, so I'm just going to rewrite it down here because I can't write that small. So since 25 is a whole number, then the decimal here will just go straight up into the problem. The decimal, if it's not given to you, remember, is always at the end of the problem. So now you can go by 25s. Can 25 go into 4? No, it cannot. Can 25, now think quarters, go into 40? Yes. Going by quarters, you're only going to get 1. 1/4 is 25, 2 is 50, it's too much. So when you multiply, that would be this, subtract it. Can you have 0 and take away 5? No, you cannot. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Check it, we are okay. So then you're going to bring down your next number, which is a 5. All right, now going by quarters again, how many 25s will go into 155? You could have, went by quarters, just to save time. It's going to be 6. 6 times 25 comes to 150. Then you would subtract, that would be a 5. Now, check it, we are okay, but now we have a remainder, which is not allowed. So make sure that you add a 0 at the end and bring it on down. So now you can say how many 25s will go into 50. That would be twice. 2 times 25 is 50 with nothing remaining. So your answer is 16 2/10. Remember, oh, I forgot to write down the steps again. Dead monkeys smell crazy bad. If you need to refer to these steps, by all means, use these steps to help you so you don't forget any of the steps. Okay, next one I want to do with you is number 3. So this is what it looks like. Now here, what you would do is you would make it a whole number. How do you make it a whole number? You would move it to the back. That would be one place. And then you would do the same here. So then when you rewrite it, it would be 6 into 129. There's your decimal. Bring it straight up. Can 6 go into 1? Yes. No, it's too small, but can it go into 12? Yes, it can. It can go in twice. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtracted, that would be 0. Check it. We are good. So bring down your next number, which is a 9. Now, how many 6s will go into 9? That is 1 time. Now make sure you are putting it above that number that you brought down. So since I brought down a 9, I need that 1 above that 9. So 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract it, that would be a 3. Check it, we are good, but we have a remainder and nothing to bring down. So remember, when it comes to decimal mode, you must add on zeros if there are remainders. So now, how many 6s will go into 30? It would be 5. 5 times 6 is 30 with nothing remaining. Your answer is 21 and 5/10. Again, you could also write that up here because that is, if you went and multiplied these two, you will get your answer of 12 and 9/10. All right, so what you're going to do for homework is 4. I'm going to kind of go around here. You're going to have 6, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Now here, I do just want to go over this one real fast with you, and just to save some time, I'm going to show you here. Since it is a whole number, you would just bring that straight up. So when you divide it all out, it's all good until you get down here. It would be 8 remaining. So again, you can't have any remainder, so to bring down a 0. So then if you tried how many 16s will go into 80, that would have been 5. 5 times 16 is 0. So your answer to that one would have been 8 and 65/100ths. All right, so now on the back, you will have the following. You are going to have 1, 3, 5, and 6. And then very quickly, I will talk to you about this one. It says a slug crawls 5 and 62/100 meters in 4/10 of an hour. What is the slug speed in meters per, remember per means divide, hour. So in this case, I'm going to put my meters first. So that would be 5 and 62/100 per means divide. And then how much of an hour? It was 4/10 of an hour. So now we're going to go ahead and write that into the box. All right, so now I bring it in one place and I do the same thing here. So now when I rewrite it, this is now saying 4. This one is going to be saying 56 and 2/10. So now I can bring up my decimal since it is a whole number. And now I can divide like normal. Can 4 go into 5? Yes, it can. It can go in once. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract, that would be 1. Check it. We are okay. Bring down your next number. How many 4s go into 16? It would be 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 0. And then bring down your next number of 2. How many 4s will go into 2? You can't do that, so you would have to put a 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract, that would be a 2. But we still have a remainder. So again, what would we have to do if we have a remainder? Remember, you can add on a 0. and hope that it ends. So now how many 4s go into 20? 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20 with nothing remaining. So therefore the answer is 14 5/100 meters per hour. Okay. Then really quick, this one says Juliet spends $6.12 at the store. Morgan spends 3 times as much as Juliet. Jonah spends $4.29 more than Morgan. How much money does Jonah spend? So here again, I'll say JU for Juliet. She spends $6.12 at the store. Then Morgan does 3 times Juliet. And then to figure out Jonah, it says we would do $4.29 more, that means plus Morgan. Okay, so in order to figure out M, we need to do this part first. Well, Juliet was $6.12, but we have to do $6.12 times 3. How many decimal places? That would be 2. This would be a 6, a 3, and an 18, and move it into places. That would be $18.36 was Morgan. So now that we got that, we're going to plug this number in for M. So now when we have addition of decimals, we need to make sure that they line up. Bring down your decimal. This is 15, carry your 1. This is 4 plus 2 is 6. Then 8 plus 2 is 12. Carry your 1 and 2. So your answer is $22.65 is how much Jonah does. All right, so that is the end of 4.7. I'm just going to tell you we are going to skip, 5.7. We are going to skip 5.8. So then the next time I see you guys, we will be discussing the chapter review of chapter 5. All right, see you guys later. Bye.